DC and Warner Brothers have cast Billy Batson, or the role of Billy Batson in the Shazam film, and it is Asher Angel. Now, some people might know him from the Disney Channel show Andy Mack, where he plays the main character, Andy Mack's love interest on there. He is going to be opposite Zachary Levi, who I already had some, like, I was a little bit like, I didn't know, like, I love Zachary Levi, don't get me wrong, but I was like, he seems a little too thin to be, the superhero, in the big, muscly physique type.
You're used to seeing him be kind of scrawny as Chuck.
Yeah.
Or like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, when I used to watch him on Less Than Perfect, he was kind of the jerk of the office. I think his name was Kip, but we haven't seen him like all studded up. But it's like seeing John Krasinski from The Office. Is that
John Krasinski? Yeah.
Seeing him all buff as shit now, and the stuff that he's doing, like, isn't he doing something for Amazon where he's playing I think the old Harrison Ford role that he used to play in The Hunt for Red October wasn't him, but for Patriot Games. Yeah, I can't think of the name.
But anyways, my problem here with them casting Asher Angel,
Jack Ryan. Sorry,
Jack Ryan. Growly just put it in there too. Isn't that also one of the Tom Cruise franchises that they tried to a new franchise they tried to give him?
No, that's
is that Jack Reacher?
Yeah, I think so. But Chris Pine did a Jack Ryan movie not too long ago.
Yeah.
Fucking Ben Affleck did a Jack Ryan movie. So Jack Ryan's been played by several different people. John Krasinski is just as qualified as anybody else. But again, we're used to seeing John Krasinski as Jim from The Office, and he hasn't played that character for a long time, and he's certainly played other stuff. But in our minds, it's still, this is a guy who mooned over Pan for 15 seasons or whatever, and you love Jim, and you really like John Krasinski, and you want to see him get his next role, but it's just like, I don't see him playing such an American badass. But he was someone who was considered for Captain America.
Yeah, true. And that's another one. That's another one. Like, I mean, even Chris Evans, he buffed up for Captain America. I mean, he wasn't, super duper skinny, but he wasn't.
Well, he wasn't Captain America buff, but then I've seen The Losers a number of times. I love that movie.
Yeah.
And they have him stripped down more than once. That guy is fucking cut. That guy has always been kind of cut. You go back to Not Another Teen Movie, he was always in good shape. But you're right. There's a level that you hit when you become a Marvel star, and a DC star as well. And I'm sure that Zachary Levi will get into DC superhero on screen shape.
Yeah, trust me. It was one of those, like, that part I don't have the problem with. It's more with Asher Angel, because from what I've seen from him, like, I've only seen him on Andy Mack, and I haven't followed too closely with season 2. I watched season 1, and every time they're talking, and I should preface for people, Andy Mack is created by the guy who created Lizzie McGuire on Disney Channel. So there's some pedigree here behind the show, and it's really good. It's also filmed in Salt Lake City. But I kid you not, and this is where audio listeners, I'm sorry, but there are scenes where he just has the dumbest, like, the look, and I'm like, you're supposed to show some emotion here in this scene, and it just seems like you're all
there's not a high expectation from those styles of shows. I mean, they're all filmed in such a way that they seem very similar, and they focus on the silly. They're meant for teenagers.
No, this is different. This isn't like the Raven's Home or Casey Undercover or Bizarre.
You're saying a lot of things that I've never watched, so I don't have a lot of reference.
It's separate. It's not the Disney Channel sitcom stuff. It's single camera. It's more drama than anything else.
Okay.
It's hitting this different spots here with it, because it's, like I said, it's not these, like, the kids don't really act, they just yell louder and stuff and all that. It's a little bit,
but is the level of what the expectations are for that show the same as what they're getting from a movie. There's got to be a reason why it was cast.
I think honestly, I think he could do better. I think it's so far from what I've seen of him in season 2, he has done better in acting. You know, not so much of the just looking dumb while you're listening to your girlfriend talk to you about how she's super duper jealous of you hanging out with this girl with the pixie haircut and all that stuff. And like
are you talking about Scott Pilgrim? Because it sounds like you're talking about Scott Pilgrim
a little bit. The main character Andy Mack, she has like really short hair, and they say with the pixie haircut. I'm like, is that a pixie haircut? But anyways, it's I don't know. I feel like I need to watch more of Andy Mack to see if he's improved before I go, okay.
Or maybe see other stuff that he's been in. So I'm gonna give 2 examples of, and not to counter you, but to say that the expectations based off of the first things that we were seeing them in and where they wound up. One of them is Jared Leto. Jared Leto, the first time I ever saw was in My So-Called Life. And I loved My So-Called Life. I was watching it on ABC when it was on, and then had to go over to MTV to get the rest of the episodes when they started re-airing it. It was very sweet, good show. Jared Leto was the boy that Claire Danes fawned all over, and he leaned great. But the expectations of Jared Leto from that point, like, loved him because he was on the show, and loved and hated his character to many degree. But he played him well, but he didn't like blow me away with his acting ability or his chops. But you take that and you look at Jared Leto of today and the vast varied body of work, and you can make comments about his Joker and stuff, but he's certainly proven in a lot of different roles that he's a very fine actor, and not a bad singer. The other one would be Will Smith. Will Smith, who had a lot of charm and was great in front of a camera, working a crowd from being Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince and all that. But when you had the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you watched him learn how to act during the seasons of that show. Because in that first season, no. Second season, no. Third season, no, but maybe. And then it just kind of went on. And definitely by the time he started hitting the big screen, it was like, this guy can command a movie. His performance is good enough that it keeps you riveted to it. And again, not all of his work is the greatest in the world, but he's consistently watchable. He's good. You know, you can put him in a shit film and you're going to walk out of there saying, well, that was a shit film. Will Smith was stupid for choosing to be in that. But that's what you get when you're fucking listening to a guy who made Avatar. But still, these are 2 guys that young actors were better than what their first roles were, or were probably adequate in their first roles, but learned over time. And something made them choose this kid to be our Billy Batson, and how much of the weight is going to be on him versus how much of the weight is going to be on Zachary Levi. And I trust in Zachary Levi to command a performance, even in something that is going to be outside of the norm from him.
Yeah.
I still think it is a possibility.
I honestly look at this, and I looked at his IMDb. He hasn't really done much. He was in an episode of a Nickelodeon TV show that you would not know the name of. He was in an episode of Criminal Minds Beyond Borders. He hasn't really done too much. And it's one of those things that, like, I would have to imagine that they just sort of killed it, like, or he killed it in the auditions and stuff like that. But along the same lines, I don't like it's just seeing those little things that he did throughout season 1 of the only thing I've seen him in. Like, it's just when I'm like, show a little bit more emotion here, because you honestly and that was it. And he probably has done better and all that, and I applaud him. By the time this is done, or they start filming with this, they probably would have done season 3, maybe season 4 of Andy Mack. And I honestly want to be proven wrong. I honestly want to be proven wrong that he's, going to be great in this.
Yeah, and we didn't know the kid who played Spider-Man recently. Yeah. We hadn't seen him in anything before. All of a sudden, he showed up in Civil War.
Well, I mean, if you think about this, you know, you go back to the 90s, we didn't know an actor who got brought in halfway or in what season 4, I think, of the Growing Pains, and now he's finally won an Oscar. You know, I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio, he came in, you know, a good majority of the way through the series run.
I was going to make a joke about Ben, but I could not for the life of me remember the name of the guy who played Ben on Growing Pains. And I don't know that he can either. Certainly his agent doesn't remember.
Hey, he was in Battle of the Network Stars here, this reboot that they did.
Yeah, was it just because they needed someone beat up on? And no one would feel bad if we beat up on Ben. That kid got hit with the ugly stick so many times. I'm sorry, that's rude. That's absolutely cruel. I'm not a pretty man. I can't just make fun of actors, but I can because I do, and it's the internet.
Yeah.
For more on this Galactic Network podcast, go to gncast.com. That's GNCASTS.com.